What's up, guys? Eric Beer here, and thank you for joining me today. So today's episode is, I'm going to call it The Matrix. And anybody that's seen The Matrix knows Neo, right? And I'm going to be Neo today because I just had a crazy experience that really hit home for me, and I think it's a good lesson for other people to piggyback. So stick around. I flew down to Boise for Russell Brunson going over his perfect webinar. I believe he was creating a course for it, so he has people come and has like a serious 2-day event, like start at 8:30, not done until 6:30. 2 days, just straight biz. Love it. I love it. Everybody's thinking and talking the same things. And he was going through step by step from phase 1 all the way to the end of you having your own perfect webinar, with the goal of him having some masterclass of some sort. And what better way to do it than to sit and do it with real people and just, explain it to them, talk them through it. And it was a really cool opportunity. Now, I've been around Russell I've been in his inner circle for the last, I don't know, maybe I joined 2 or 3 years ago. I forget now. 2 or 3 years ago, I joined. And I've never done a webinar before. He's been talking about his webinar. He says pretty much anything and everything he's done that has been successful is because of his perfect webinar. And for whatever reason, I just haven't done it. He has this one doodle that he does, and he writes through what the perfect webinar is. And I got it, I understood it, right? But I really didn't get it to a point where I could sit down and look at that doodle and explain to you each step, the strategy, and why he's doing it all the way to the end. And for the first time since I've been coming to Boise and listening to his meetings and talking to people, it's like I was Neo in the Matrix, where I was able to just see through the code. And it was like, whoa, like all that stuff that I thought was really complicated, I get it, right? Like I know my survey flow really well, right? And when I sit and try to explain it to people, certainly if I try to explain it to you in a day or two, you're going to be very, very overwhelmed. You're going to feel like you just got ran over by a tractor trailer. So, knocked out by Mike Tyson, right? I would just hit you with so much information. But for me, it comes secondhand. I've been doing it for so long. That's how the perfect webinar is for Russell, right? Like he's been doing this for so long that it's just when he starts to think about teaching it, he's got these steps in his head. He's got frameworks, right? And he can go on any stage, anytime, and talk through that framework, whether it's for 2 days or an hour. He just follows the framework. He can go into more detail for each of them. But the point is that I, for the first time, saw the framework as he was talking, right? Like I've seen his 10X presentation a bunch of times. Like I've watched it when I first got into hanging with him. I probably watched that video 10 to 20 times. And that's a good hour, 2 hours of video. To the point where I knew exactly what he was saying, but I still I didn't know why he was doing it. I didn't get it to the point where I got it, but by the time it was all over, it's so long that you just can't comprehend everything, especially if you're somebody that has never really done that. And for the first time, it made sense to me based on if you asked me to tell you about the perfect survey, right? I would start to think about it as AISTP, right? Attract, identify, segment, target, position, right? And no matter what, if I started to explain somebody how to go and get something set up, I can focus on those 5 letters and be able to talk for an hour or 2 days all around the strategies and what you'd be doing through that flow. There's a lot of things that go into that, right? So if I were to like create a master class, it would have to be a lot more than that. And I saw him doing that on stage. It wasn't like he had his letters, but he has a framework that he knows what he needs to do for each step. And I was able to look at that, think about what I do, and be like, oh my goodness, like I'm kind of getting it. Like I understand like how he's thinking about it, how he can now break it out into pieces. And now the next step is on me to figure out, how do I apply my business to his perfect webinar? And it's like, I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And I'll tell you the number one thing that helped me, and I believe it's the thing that you need to do if you want to be successful and you want to learn somebody else's skill set framework, get into a business. And I was trying to think about what it was. It's one word. And I just looked it up because I wanted to make sure that I was taking it directly from the internet. And the word is immersion. And they define it: the action of immersing someone or something in a liquid, deep mental involvement. That hits home to me. Deep mental involvement. The reason why I understood it was because I was there from 8:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock plus, going over just that 2 days in a row. The first day I was thrown into it. And to be honest, like my mindset was not great. I wasn't comprehending in the beginning where I was taking notes, when I didn't know it at the time. But when I came back the second day and where my mind was that day and the way that I was taking notes and breaking it out was like, you couldn't compare the two. Day 2 was powerful for me. I came in with a different mindset. And the reason I believe that happened was because, like anything, you start anything new, when you go and you try to learn something and you jump in, whether it's how to play the piano, play the guitar, how to do the perfect webinar, do something with surveys, perfect survey, learn my method. If you think you're just going to come in and someone's going to like throw it on you for a day and you're going to get it, I'd be very surprised. There's very few people in this world can do that. Maybe there's a few people that are that smart that can take it, apply it, boom. But by me doing it 2 days in a row, and the second day, I was able to digest what he was giving me first day, right? I was immersion. I immersed myself into it for all those hours. Nothing else, just focus on that. The next day I came back and I was, again, all those hours spending time on that, learning what he's doing, the strategy, why. And it's worth it. Guy's made, I don't know, between him alone, he's hundreds of millions of dollars using this perfect webinar. Hundreds of millions, probably billions. And he's got success stories of people that are using it and it's working for them. I've never sold something off of a webinar. I've had a lot of success on the internet, but not like that. I never took my knowledge and tried to show somebody else how to do it, teach somebody else how to do it. All the things I know about how I earn money online, right? How I help people generate leads and I make money doing it, right? All my lead generation hacks, right? Ways to arbitrage media, how to ultimately be like I call it a performance marketer. Some people could call it a super affiliate, right? At the end of the day, it's relatively the same thing. An affiliate is promoting somebody's offer. And all those things I've never shown anybody how to do. And I'm starting to put some things together. I'm putting content out now and throwing, little pieces here and there, but I haven't really put out like a master class yet. I've gone and given pieces. Somebody who's clever should be able to consume my content and be able to build some pretty successful businesses quickly. If you find the right pieces of content and put them together, you could build a $5 to $10 million a year business on some of the strategies that I've put out on this podcast, on my YouTube channels. If you just listen for it, word for word, stop it, do something, right? Go watch some of these videos, stop it, take notes, write it down, then press play, listen to the next piece, write it down, and then kind of lay it out. There's a bunch of things out there that I've done for people, right? But nobody's that I know of immersing themselves into the business, into my stuff, right? So I don't anticipate anybody taking what I'm putting out there and finding like massive success. Just like I haven't immersed myself into the perfect webinar and I haven't done it. I dabble here and there. I've never tried like sitting down. In the past, I was sitting down like trading 50 to 60 to 70 slides is like, oh my God, like that's a pain point for me. That is not my forte. So I run away from that. That's pain for me. Do I want success? Yes. That's a pleasure for me, success. Things drive me because I want to have success, right? But so the thing though, that was so important, and I knew this already, but it was just like the code, it opened up. I just like, for the first time, was looking at this like one sheet. There's one sheet of the perfect webinar. And I'm like, oh my God, like I get what that means. I understand what he's doing there. Like I understand the strategy and it's clever. It's not like, oh my God, out of the box. It's just, he's been doing it for 10, 15 years. And he's just, every time he's had some sort of failure, he goes back and fixes it. And over a period of time, he's been able to take all the things, all his mistakes that he's made and throw them out the door. The things that work, he keeps in. So over a period of time, if it's the intro, if it's the keeping people engaged, creating curiosity, the offer, how to sell the offer, whatever that is, I mean, he's got it down to a T. And because I did it for 2 days straight, hardcore, was like, for whatever reason, and I've tried, to do it before. I've sat in meetings. I think the fact that one, I was just immersing myself in it was like the main thing. And I also think that it's just your mindset. Different people digest things in a different way, right? Think of like marinating something in a barbecue. Like if you have a steak that you want to marinate in some teriyaki sauce, you leave it overnight in the bag, it just sit and just soak up all of that teriyaki sauce into the steak. So when you put it onto the grill the next day, it's tasty. It's the same thing with information with people. It's you get given information, right? Like you hear this all the time. You go to these events, and I mean, the amount of information I got this week was massive, so much value. There's no way I'm going to be able to remember everything. And there were so many good things there. Oh my goodness. I took notes. They're in here. That's why you take notes, so that you can go back and look later on so that you can remember some of the stuff. But the thing is that it's all sitting in here. And I have a decision to make now. I'm getting it, what he's doing. Like I'm Neo and the code for the matrix. I'm looking at this thing and it just looks like green letters and numbers and it's just a black screen. And now all of a sudden I'm looking at that screen and like I'm seeing exactly what he's doing and understanding why it works so well. And it's up to me to decide, do I want to continue to deeply keep my mind into executing on his perfect webinar to sell my stuff? I have a decision to make. If I stop right now and I don't do anything, let's say I go to, let's funnel hacking live or whatever, a few months, there's no way I'm going to know all the things that I know now. I'll probably forget everything and then just go back to to phase one. And I knew this already, but the key to success is immersing yourself into whatever it is you want to learn. And the other thing is you have to repeat it. Continue to repeat it over and over and over again. Practice, right? So for me to master this, I need to stay deep into what he's doing, why he's doing it, and how it'll apply to how I can use it for my business. And I have to stay with it and repeat it day in and day out until it's done. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste. I mean, listen, I got good information. I feel smarter than I was last week, and that's great. My takeaway is also that, and what I really got excited about was that I felt like, holy cow, this is a lot of information. And that's for me. I mean, I can go on for hours and talk about all the things I do. When I was teaching some people about the surveys, like someone will get on a Zoom with me and then it'll be 3.5 hours later. And it's all unbelievable information, right? But it's so much information for one person for that one Zoom call that I'm trying to help them out that they just get run over. They could probably take that recording and build a course out of it. It may not be clean, a little rough around the edges, but if you take that, you could break it up, cut it, and then just deliver it as a course to somebody. I've done it multiple times. I haven't done the break it up and make it a course yet, just because that's not what's been my main focus. But I'm going to start, because this SurveyDetective platform that I have, there's no way I'm going to be able to make this thing be successful without a webinar, is what I believe. There's too many things for me to explain. You don't get the value of it without me sitting down and explaining to you why it's valuable. And I can't expect people to take the time the way I do to do something like that, because they'll just stop before they get past an hour, 2 hours, because that's not what they do. It's not what they want to do, right? They want to get a result. My platform needs to get results for people. Like, we're building it so that you can come in and get results. But how do I explain that? How do I explain the value of what this is? Like, why would you want to use my platform? What is the value to you at the end of the day, right? I know what I'm going to do for you. I know what it can do for you. I know what I've done for other people and my own businesses over the last 10, 15 years, 20 years, generating millions upon millions of leads that turn into business, turn into customers, turn into ka-ching. It all starts there. And this is super, super powerful. Most people aren't doing anywhere near what they can be doing with their business. Even the businesses today that are successful. Most companies are mass marketing to their audience. If they're segmenting their data, it's at a very high level, like the basic level. But it's nowhere near what SurveyDetective is going to be able to do for companies is going to be game changing. And it's things you probably know. Smart marketers that understand it, if I just point them in the right direction, explain to them how they can use it, what they should be doing, little tweaks here and there. I mean, I'm just excited to see what they're going to do with this once they start to put their mind to it. Right? There's people out there that are way smarter than I am, that once I explain to you, here's what you should be doing, here's a lot of the things that you have the ability to do. If I start getting into some of the advanced stuff for the really, really savvy marketers, it's so powerful for existing businesses and new businesses. But so I got to figure out how to get you to understand that. And not by me just kind of talking right now here. I got to get you to understand that. And the only way I'm going to be able to do it is with a webinar. So I came home and I was pretty excited about this. I feel like for the first time I'm there. Now this isn't like I got it. No way. No way. If I don't keep on immersing myself into this, going deep, I'm not going to get it done. I need to commit to it. It's the same thing like anything else in this world. You want to be good at something, you need to go all in on it. You can't be touchy-feely and expect to get results. It's just not possible, right? When you focus on one thing, that is when you will be the most successful. If you're doing 10 things, that's great. Then structure your day to where you're focusing on each one of those at a certain period of time, and that's it. You can't be interrupted. Get it done, and if you have the mindset to move on to the next thing, do it in the next, whatever, hours, weeks, months, however you set it up. I mean, it's possible. Like for me, it's very hard for me to just be thinking about building a webinar or thinking about SurveyDetective, and then you want to come and ask me a question about, how do I arbitrage media to start generating some cash flow as an affiliate? I mean, I could tell you a lot of ways you could do that, but it's very different than what I'm showing you to do with SurveyDetective, the tool that I'm building, how you're going to use it. Very different. And for me to start thinking about all those strategies, I'm going to lose focus on this, on what I'm doing here. So I have to be really, really careful and smart about me scheduling my time on how I'm going to put my focus. But it's immersion. It really is. It's immersion. If you can dedicate yourself and just go deep into whatever it is that you want to learn to where you understand it, you just got to repeat it. You just got to continue to repeat it until it becomes natural to you. And when that happens, that's where you come close to mastering it, to becoming very good at it. It's no secret. Everybody in the world that's successful, they always talk about practice, right? They practice a ton. That's just them repeating. They're going deep, right? If you want to be, Tom Brady, right? We all know Tom Brady. He just came back and won a Super Bowl at 46 years old, right? And he looked like his career was over a few years ago. And the guy worked his butt off to get where he was last year. I mean, he looked better last year than he did the previous 5 years of his life. He changed his diet, right? Supposedly got into some plant-based diet. And he worked his butt off. And he got rewarded for it. He went deep. He continued to do it every day. He focused. He had a goal. He put a plan in place, right? And then he was able to attain that goal. I mean, more than I think he even expected. I don't think he expected to win the Super Bowl last year. He may have said it, but there's no way that he went in saying he's going to win the Super Bowl. No way. The fact that he even took them to the playoffs was huge. And it was just immersion and him repeating himself. So I think if there's a framework to get out of this on how you can be successful on whatever it is you're focused on for your business, number one, you have to immerse yourself into whatever it is that you're trying to learn. You can't just go in for a day or go to an event and leave and don't do anything after that and expect to get it. And then later on, you're like, oh, his stuff doesn't work, or he doesn't know how to teach it, or whatever. I doubt it highly. Maybe they're not a great teacher, but I doubt it highly. But if the guy's successful doing it, it works. It's just you taking the time to just master it. Know it the way he knows it. Put the time in and dedicate your time, if you're true about it, to a point where you get it. And don't freak out on the first few days. The cool part is with anything, the first few days, it's just you got to say to yourself, all right, just don't freak out, don't freak out, don't freak out. And by day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, by the week later, if you did it, I mean, you're going to come in with this mindset where you're just you get it. You feel more powerful because you understand it. And then you start to realize, wait a second, this guy's not that smart. I'm not that smart, right? I'm not. I've been doing this for a long time, right? I get it. I've been deep, been doing it day in and day out. I've been deep in it and I get it. I've seen it from the start to the finish. We've had success multiple times. I know what I need to do to be successful, and I get it. That's one of the hardest things of when I'm trying to teach people, because there's things that are so easy to me because I've been doing it for so long that I almost expect you to know it, but there's no way you should know it. I think that's one of the biggest issues that all the coaches have. is when they're trying to teach, like they skip over some things that they think are just basic things, and it's not. It's not basic. But they work so hard to get to that point that it's just like it comes easy to them. That's what you want to do. You want to get to that point. And the only way to do it is to go deep. So I would say, like, from a framework's perspective is, number one, immerse yourself. Number two, repetition. You need to repeat. If you want to master this, you need to repeat this every day. Practice, practice, practice. That's what they say in sports, right? Right? Practice. When you're on a team, every day is practice. After school, you got to go practice, practice, practice. Game, practice, practice. All right, one day off. All right, back the next day. It's good to take a day. I'm not suggesting that you just like can't do anything with your life. Like I'm an all-in kind of guy. Like when I go for something, like I can't do it half. I probably do too much. I probably, for me, when you talk about work-life balance, like when I go hard into learning something, and then like there's no balance there. It's probably too much. And I could work on that on the other end of the scope. But the way that I look at it is I'm willing to work my butt off for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, whatever it takes, if I want the result, if I want to get it done. And I know that when I do see success, all of that hard work for those 60 days, 90 days are going to pay dividends. Could be a year, could be 10 years, could be 50 years, depending on the business that you build. I mean, I have that today. There's things that we've worked on in my business from years ago that we make money on, that I don't spend my time on today. Is it intense? Yeah, it is. Is it for everybody? No, it's not. But it's for the people that are willing to go all in and do it, right? Just go all in. And when I mean go all in, like go all in. Keep your mindset on this. Don't watch Netflix. Don't think about, going out and spending 4 hours, just throwing information into your mind that's just going to take you off track. Live in it. Sleep in it. I promise you it'll work. That's how you master. Immerse yourself. Repeat it. Continue to repeat it. Stay in this until you're to the point where you can be considered an expert in, let's say, a survey, right? I didn't know surveys that great years ago, right? I wasn't born and knew how to use surveys to generate leads, right? I saw other companies doing it. I saw other companies using surveys. I saw what they were doing. I understood what they were doing. To me, it was like, I remember like why I loved it so much was like, it's the psychology behind it. It's just so powerful. I took psychology in college. I was a finance major, but I remember loving that course so much. If I look back now, I kind of wish I was more of a marketing major in business and all around like psychology of the consumer. I think that stuff's so cool. I think it's just understanding how people think, how people make decisions, the decision-making process is like so cool. I should do another episode just around that. It's so cool. Think about that, right? Like if you know how to get your customers to buy, wouldn't you just cater to those people and do what it is they need so that they'll purchase your product, your service? Yeah. But no, people guess, right? People are guessing. I don't get why. Because they don't know. Maybe that's why. Because, I mean, some of the things I do, it's just like, it gives you answers that you can use for any business. It's massive. It's really powerful. So, I don't know. For me, it was just, I feel like Neo in the Matrix. I'm seeing through the code. It's funny because when I flew home and there's no direct flight to New York, it's a really long flight. It's like a full day. And hopefully I never have to do that again because I think JetBlue is doing a direct flight to Boise from New York starting in a month. So if that's true, it's amazing. But I put on The Matrix. I put the movie on, The Matrix, to watch. And it was so funny because as I'm watching The Matrix and the concept around it, and I'm kind of like watching the movie and seeing how they're applying the Matrix, and it's a confusing movie for sure. It has to be up your sleeve on the taste of movies that you like. But I was thinking about it, and as I was doing it, because I was so deep in what I did for the last 2 days prior, I was applying some of those things like, oh, yeah, that is similar to that part of his framework. And I was like, that's cool. And I started taking notes, right? And I started thinking, oh my God, yeah, that's cool. Then I was like, oh, well, then these could be ads, right? I can do it like this. But how would I explain it to that dude with the Matrix, right? How can I show somebody that you can learn my stuff? What's a good analogy? Well, I could show you Neo from the Matrix in the first movie, right? Where he's learning all about this. I can skip everything in the middle and just show you the end of the Matrix, of when it is just everything's clear to him. Oh my God. Oh, he got it. He's saving everybody. That is it. That's what we're doing here. That's what every coach tries to do. Take you from the beginning of the Matrix, where you don't know anything, to where you see through that code and understand it, and you can apply it, and you can have the same success that the person that's teaching you it has. I mean, it's as simple as that. We overcomplicate things sometimes because we're like in the middle of all this other stuff. But the key to doing it is just staying with it, persevering. Immerse yourself and repeat it, right? Persevere. And don't stop until you get there, till the end. You will be able to see through the code like Neo in the Matrix, just like I am seeing through the code today, and I'm going to stay with it and try to bang this out for the first time in a way where I believe I have all of the ingredients to put this together where it makes sense and I see the value. I still need to learn a lot, so there's a lot more there. It's not like I just took 2 days and I get it. I don't. No way. There's no way that when I do it, it's going to work. It's definitely, I understand it, and I'm being just realistic with myself. I understand it, but I'm almost certain when I do it, it's going to bomb. And I'm going to have to go back and repeat this multiple times. I get that, right? A lot of people will go and they'll create, let's say that webinar or a survey, it bombs, and they're done. They say it sucks, it doesn't work. Come on, man. That's not going deep. It's one shot. You got to go deep. You understand the strategy, but I still need to be able to sell the way he sells, be able to understand like the mindset of people when I'm in front of them and how to apply it to some of the things he's doing. And that's where it gets really fun. And that's when like I'm sitting in these meetings and people that do have webinars and they're all talking and they start talking about the close and like little things you could do to get somebody to run up to the back of the table. Those are like, I always hear those and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get to that point because I'm good at that stuff, right? That stuff will come easier to me. Getting on the stage and doing it in front of thousands, I never picture myself doing that. I never picture myself being in an auditorium selling a product of mine and then having people go and run and like fill out apps. And I never picture that for myself in my life. It's more possible today than it's ever been. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I hope so. But the only way I'm going to get there, it's not going to be by a fluke. It's going to be by it's just how bad do I want it? It's not a question of if. It's a question of when. If I want it, I'll have it. I'll get it because I'll immerse myself into it and I'll continue to repeat it day in and day out. I'll stay deep until I master it. If that's where my life goes, that's where my mindset is, That's why I believe that people can do anything. I have more confidence in people than they have in themselves. I have more confidence in you than you probably have in yourself. I find that there's tons of time where I see people and they're like, I can't do it. And it frustrates me so. And it's not about they can't do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do what they need to do to be successful. Right? You don't see that part. You don't see the part of the people behind the scenes. You don't see all the years of them learning how to get there. You don't see the failures, right? You just see the front end. Like you go and you see Russell on stage now, and it's like, whoa, he's a professional, right? He's comfortable. He's working the room. He's making eye contact with everybody. He just seems cool. He's like not scared. Like it's just, maybe he gets all like anxious beforehand. I guarantee he still does. It's just he's human, but he's comfortable up there. And there's no way that someone like me is going to feel like that unless I do it. And I got to do it a lot, multiple times. And this is the thing that I believe is, just human nature. Because a lot of people talk about like learning skill sets and, all right, you can learn other people's mistakes and fast track your success. Absolutely. Yes. But I also believe that in some capacity, you got to experience it yourself to really feel and get it for you to take that next step and be successful. Because it just doesn't resonate with you. It doesn't resonate with me. I listen, and I'm by me listening to him, if I want to do a webinar, I'm fast tracking 15 years, it seems like, right? But there's going to be pain points for me that I'm going to go through that, I just need to experience myself for my style so that I can make my perfect webinar. Make sense? It's like the outline's there, the framework's there, but everyone's different. Everyone's different. You're different. The way you're going to do it is going to be different too. And there's no easy way. It's hard work, right? If you enjoy it and you want it bad enough, you can get it. So I wanted to come here today just while it's fresh in my mind, while I'm able to see through the code of the matrix and, push that out to all you guys. If you've been struggling with like learning something. And I will leave you with one thing. This is the other thing that I think is really, really powerful that I personally do. I've been doing it for years. And I never even realized I did it until I started thinking about it. But if you read, let's say you go through a course and you complete the course, right? Let's say you were to go through this perfect webinar course that he created and you did it one time. You think you're an expert then and you're done. Go back, do it again and do it again and do it again. Don't do anything else. You don't got to move on. You don't have to move on. Stay deep in that exact thing, right? It's like you read a book and you're done. I mean, I listen to the same episodes over and over and over on some of these podcasts. When I find episodes that I love of things that I'm interested in doing, I listen to them over and over and over and over. I'll play it and then I won't let it end so that it goes off my phone. And then I'll just pull it all the way back to the front and I'll listen to it again. Pull it all the way back to the front. Listen to it again. Pull it all the way until it's just like ingrained in my head. Because that's what I want to know. That's what I want to be an expert in, right? So when you're doing something like that, stop looking for like 25 things. You can't master 25 things. My wife says it to me when I play sport. Jack of all trades, master of none. For you to master something, you have to immerse yourself in it. You have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and do not move on. Just because you finish a course, just because you finished a book, does not mean you mastered it. Go back, do it again. And when you do it again, you're in a different mindset. You may see it different. You're going to learn something different, right? I've listened to Russell be on stage multiple times and talk about the same exact thing. And every time I get a different takeaway just because of where my mind's at and how I'm perceiving it. He means it one way. I'm perceiving it however I'm thinking. You got to stay deep. And that's the way you're going to master things. And that's the way you're going to be successful. So Appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Hope this was helpful. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Push this out to people. It's helpful for me. If like it, share it, comment. All those things really help me, and I appreciate you if you do it. And until next time, I'm out. Be good, guys. Take care.